So can we back up just for a second and talk about vending and how you decided to get into that and what you had to do to actually get into that, and if you would recommend people getting into that?
I would, but find the thing that makes sense both for your skill sets and your market. So the thing that was always going to hold me back in vending and continues to be the case is I don't enjoy sales. And I don't enjoy engaging in cold calls. So we did most of our growth, and unfortunately our market could bear it, but that's not the case with every market, by acquiring existing routes and leveraging their best locations. So we'd upgrade the equipment. We started with these small 3-head plastic machines, hundreds of them. Actually, at one point we probably had 600 of these little guys. And for very good locations, we'd leverage it up to a 4 select or an 8 select. And we got really, really good at small candy vending. I found I was really patient with locations. I'd try a different product mix and over time just gradually change it out. Even low producing locations, I stuck with them longer than would be recommended at times. And some of them ended up being fantastic locations. And eventually we had enough sense to start vending toys. No spoilage. Really, if a toy starts becoming less popular, you just throw it into a mystery mix, right, and it revitalizes. And so there's just no downside to that. So bouncy balls and toys became sort of an excellent way for us to continue to leverage locations. I had one Mexican restaurant with an 8 select, and I just couldn't get anything to move. And I put a couple toys in there and they sold out immediately. Well, long story short, I have 8 toys in there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just initially was selling the wrong thing. And part of that was because the machine we started with only did candy. It didn't have a gumball wheel, so it couldn't do gumballs, bouncy balls, or toys. And so part of that was hard-headedness and just working through it until we went through the wall. But ton of research. I was very active on the forums. I read whatever books were available. Not a ton, but there are some. And now there's YouTube channels and podcasts. But in 2012, 2013, there were not. So now there's a lot more resources and very good, robust Facebook groups about vending that I still keep my foot in, but for all intents and purposes, I'm out of vending. I saw vending from the beginning, even when my father-in-law approached me and said, let's do vending, as the training wheel to learn how to file for a business, how to run a business. And for the most part, I never had employees. If I did, it was my brother helping me ship out machines, or it was my family member helping me run the route and cover for me in a pinch. But and I had all the flexibility in the world. If I didn't feel like going out on a route one day, I just didn't. So it served some of my nature really well. But at the same time, if I needed to go out on a 12-hour day, I went out on a 12-hour day.
Right.
We were fortunate to make some network well within our market. And eventually we partnered with a few different companies that did charity collections. And charity collections really paid the bills. There was no fluctuation. Vending machines fluctuate with time. In the summer months, some of the candy melts a little quicker or sticks to the wall or whatever, breaks down. But charity collections, even during the pandemic, have gone strong, especially the ones that have drive-thrus. So we were able to, within the umbrella of vending, find the ones that worked for us and the ones that gave us the flexibility to operate. And I didn't require a lot of income. I was still doing National Guard time, so I'd still get paid to go in, and I'd get paid for my 2 weeks of training and then to go to schools and stuff. So the collective income was good enough that I never had to really try to break through with vending. I believe to really break through, you need to leverage the higher revenue, higher risk categories. So bigger equipment, and coin pushers out a larger scale, which again varies state to state. In Colorado, it's no problem. People have robust pusher routes. But then, as we know, during the pandemic, everybody that had, even the national companies that had the King Supers and Walmarts, all of them are unavailable. We made almost no revenue in 2020 with vending. And I'm all but giving the route to the gentleman that covered for me previously. We're selling it to him for a small amount. And again, what he'll get out of that is a bunch of equipment and some existing locations that he can revive. And he'll get the charity route, which is going to be good. And there's more coming on that. the charity collection.
Charity route is like, those are like the bins where you drop off clothes and stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
No, this is like at fast food restaurants and national change where you donate your loose change. Somebody has to come collect, deposit, and put that information into a database. And that was us for our market. And so we cover, and with that comes surveys. You go in break rooms and take pictures of the sodas and snack machines and stuff like that. And that pays pretty well for minimal effort. So it was just a kind of a niche, but super steady.
So if somebody wanted, I don't want to like beat this drum too long, but if somebody wanted to get into vending, what should, I mean, okay, let's say they jump into some of the forums and watch some of the YouTubes and stuff. What's their first step to get into their first vending route?
Craigslist in any major market. So any city, hundreds of thousands plus, is flooded with equipment and routes for sale right now. It's more available than it had been previously. And the quality of equipment that's available is excellent. The machines continue to get better and better built. And it was always a quarter for a couple decades now. And now there's a ton of 50-cent plus mechanisms on the market, and that's more properly priced. So the equipment and the routes are readily available. And then coupled with the information, if it sounds like it's something they can do, the cool thing is it's truly one of those side hustle opportunities. You can truly do any other career and build it. And you could build just a few locations and see if you like it, and you can get out of it with very low revenue invested, or you can get after it and you can go get nice new equipment and you can go build a robust route and go get pizza parlors and large Mexican restaurants, Chinese buffets. They're ripe for the picking.
Yeah. It seems like right now would actually probably be a really good time to get into it. If that's something that, like, if you have very low amount of money to spend, now would be probably a really good time because, everybody just spent a year not making any money. So the people who are wanting to get rid of their stuff and get something for it, it might be a time to pick it up on the cheap and just start hustling. Because, hopefully things are turning around here and stuff will start opening back up even more. I mean, it is already. And those routes hopefully will be able to be revived and you'll be able to pick up some more. So
in the best of times, a candy route went for 1x multiple. So probably a 0.75 or less right now, but it's not like other industries. So if the route makes 30K, you buy it for 30K or less. You don't buy it at a more than 1x multiple. So it is one of those true, and in a lot of cases, you can go around with them while they collect. And unless they were just clever enough to go, juice the machines ahead of time or anything like that, which happens, but It's really, the due diligence on a candy route is substantially easier than on other things because it's very easy to tell if the machine is in bad shape or not. If it's been well maintained or not, and then what's working, what's not. Do they have good graphics on there? Did they put weird product mixes in there? And so super easy to figure out if it's and like you said, a lower cost point to try it out.
Awesome, cool. Well, thank you for sharing all that stuff. I think some people will be intrigued by that, so I appreciate that.